What Neama and Anushka were talking about to Neama Rahmani, who's a former federal prosecutor. Sir, welcome to BBC News with this breaking news of the verdict on this trial that has gripped not just the US but the world. Let's just start with what we were hearing from Anushka there, that Diddy arguably was kinky, not criminal. Was the federal government, was it overreaching in bringing about this prosecution to begin with?
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Today's verdict was nothing less than a complete and total loss by the government in what will go down as the most expensive prostitution trial in American history. The jury rejected the very weak sex trafficking arguments. The only real chance the government had was to prove racketeering through some non-sex related activity like kidnapping, arson, bribery, or extortion. And the fact that prosecutors were unable to even prove that, and the jury returned unanimous not guilty verdicts beyond a reasonable doubt, showed the fatal flaws in this prosecution. And really, the prosecutors in the Southern District of New York, who are the most prestigious, who have the highest win rate of any office in the country, have to really be looking at themselves in the mirror and asking, why did we bring this case? And discussing the many, many mistakes that happened during their presentation of the evidence.
Why do you think they got it so wrong?
I think they underestimated Cassie Ventura's text messages and emails where she said that she wanted to get freaky, can't wait to have another freak off. She enjoyed it. There wasn't a single writing where she said that she did not want to participate in this activity. And jurors asked themselves, well, if you were abused, why did you stay in this abusive relationship for more than a decade? I understand the psychology of abuse, but a lot of jurors don't. And we saw this in the Harvey Weinstein case recently, where jurors said, well, if Weinstein sexually assaulted you, why did you continue to maintain a personal and professional relationship with him? The next victim was Mia, and she never reported the sexual assault to law enforcement. She didn't even report it to prosecutors when she met with them initially. And there were many social media posts where she said that Diddy was her brother and that she loved him. And the last victim, Jane, she was getting money from comas. She's still getting her rent paid. She's an OnlyFans model. And I think jurors thought that it was a transactional relationship, and she knew what she was getting herself into when she dated a mogul and a hip-hop superstar.
Arguably, of course, we also saw the hurt that they experienced, physical as well as emotional. Neama, we're just going to play Cassandra's lawyer's comments straight after that verdict. Here he is.
And, we're hopeful that ultimately he receives a substantial sentence for what he's done. And, we're pleased that Cassie's brought to light everything that has happened in this trial. I just spoke with her and with the U.S. Attorney's Office team, and she's in a good place. She's pleased that, again, that the jury has found him liable, guilty of 2 federal crimes.
What was her reaction?
And I've issued a statement as well on our Twitter as well. Her reaction is what I just said. Her reaction was that she was pleased that he's been found guilty and held responsible of 2 federal crimes, something that he's never been held responsible in his entire life. And she's happy that in November of 2023 she came forward and shined a light on this and brought other people forward who have various civil claims, and so we'll see what happens with the sentencing.
All right, Counsel,
thank you very much.
Looking at this direction, you said that same thing. Sorry.
Oh, I can't repeat it again, but
yeah, please.
Sorry. So, what was the question?
Your reaction to what happened.
The reaction is that we're pleased that he's finally been held responsible for 2 federal crimes, something that he's never faced in his life. He still faces substantial jail time. Of course, we would have liked to have seen a conviction on the sex crimes in RICO, but we understand beyond a reasonable doubt is a high standard, and we're just pleased that he still faces substantial jail time.
So the attorney for one of those witnesses of Cassandra Ventura there, Doug Wigdor, giving his reaction. And arguably, just for our audience to understand, Cassandra's civil lawsuit is believed to have sparked the investigation that culminated in this trial. But Neama, while we've still got you, as a former federal prosecutor, you were talking about this being a win for Sean Diddy Combs's team. I wonder, what does this mean for victims going forward? Because arguably there will be this sense of why bother putting yourself through something like this?
There's no question that this will have a chilling effect on the victims. Imagine them coming to court to testify that they were drugged to the point that they threw up, that they had to have sex while on their period, and when they had UTIs, that they were urinated on in their mouth, and the jury did not believe them. Look, and I respect Victor, but let's be genuine here. This was a loss for his client. And with respect to prostitution, not only is Sean Diddy Combs going to get little to no time because it's not that serious of an offense, despite the potential 10-year sentence, we know as prosecutors that the sentencing guidelines are much, much less. I would be surprised if he wasn't granted bond and released. But his client, Cassie Ventura, was also a participant in the prostitution. She was contacting and paying the sex workers. So for them to focus on that particular count, I think is potentially problematic. Now, I'm not suggesting that Cassie Ventura is going to be prosecuted for prostitution, but if we knew ex ante before this trial that Combs was only going to be convicted of prostitution, there's not a single prosecutor in this country who would have brought this case.
And just for our audience, apologies if you're finding some of the detail distressing. It is a really difficult case, let's be quite frank about this, and the details are grim. And so apologies to anyone who is getting upset by this. Just on this idea, on the case of, when it comes to the charges of transportation to engage in prostitution, Neama, as you were discussing there, those two cases, those two guilty charges that Sean Diddy Combs was found, his supporters would say that this particular charge is a way of bringing down a man that is a man who is at the top of his game, that this is used against African American content creators. Is there an argument for that?
There is an argument. The Mann Act is rarely prosecuted. It's really a throw-in offense. I put more than 1,000 people in federal prison, and I never once charged the Mann Act. So I understand the argument. Look, Combs has been in custody for almost a year now, coming up on a year in September. So he's served some time. I do believe that the jury has spoken and that he should be released. There's no question. I think the judge should give him little to no time. Look, when you're a prosecutor, and apparently the prosecution is asking for 20 years, 10 years on each count, your job is to pursue justice, not to secure wins. So if the jury speaks and they don't believe your victims and they don't accept your theory of the case, that these women were forced and coerced to participate in these horrendous sex acts and that Diddy was running a criminal enterprise, you should do the right thing, let the man go, accept the jury verdict, and move on.
So we await the decision when it comes to being the bail. A $1 million bail bond is what Sean Diddy Combs' defence are arguing for. In theory, we might get that decision within the next couple of hours. So you reckon that the judge will go with that?
I think the judge should absolutely. I mean, we're talking about prostitution. If Combs were just charged with prostitution, he would absolutely receive bail. Bail is appropriate unless someone's a risk of flight or a danger to the community. And now that the jury has spoken, Sean Diddy Combs is neither. He should be granted bail. He should get time served or close to it, and he should move on with the rest of his life. This was a failure by the prosecution, a win by the defense, and the defense should reap the benefits of this jury verdict.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to leave it there. But Neama Rahmani, thank you very much, former federal prosecutor, for giving us your insight and your expertise on this breaking news story. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.